But I would say this because it's important for the public, that revolutions that are supposed to happen will happen no matter how long it will take. You can only suppress people only for a time. But the Nigerian revolution is building up. You know, what builds up a revolution are the ingredients you have in place, and suppress of ethnic groups, suppress of free speech.
According to Ejimakor, Nnamdi Kanu is currently experiencing shortness of breath, low blood pressure, and general malaise. Aloy Ejimakor, the counsel to the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Marcel Nnamdi Kanu, has come to social media to express what is going on and what is happening in DSS custody with Nnamdi Kanu. And he reported also to the Shara reporters that published that Nnamdi Kanu was denied access to his doctor in DSS custody despite formal request, says IPOB lawyer Ejimakor. Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, special counsel for Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, has expressed concern over Kanu's deteriorating health. According to Ejimakor, Kanu is currently experiencing shortness of breath, low blood pressure, and general malaise. Ejimakor stated that Kanu requested medical attention from his personal physician, and subsequently his legal team submitted a formal request to the Department of State Service DSS to grant access to Kanu's doctor. However, when the doctor arrived at the DSS headquarters on Tuesday, he was denied access to Kanu. Ejimakor said, "Yesterday, during our visitation with Nnamdi Kanu, we found him ill with shortness of breath, low blood pressure, and general malaise. For this reason, he requested to see his doctor, and we submitted a letter in this regard. Today, the doctor arrived at the DSS but was denied access to Nnamdi Kanu." In a message sent to Shara reporters, Ejimakor said, as a background, the DSS is well aware that Marcel Nnamdi Kanu is susceptible to potassium deficiency, which affects the function of the heart. This problem was diagnosed by the DSS doctors some 3 years ago, and they confessed to their lack of expertise to treat the problem, which in all probability is the cause of Nnamdi Kanu's current illness. This is no doubt very serious and deadly to boot. The readings of the electronic heart monitor supplied by the DSS have been recording low pressure levels for nearly 9 days in a row without any medical intervention to ascertain whether the blood potassium level is within the clinically acceptable range. Kanu is facing trial on terrorism charge leveled against him by the then President Muhammadu Buhari's administration over his call and agitation for the sovereign state of Biafra. Kanu was extraordinarily retention from Kenya in June 2021 by former President Buhari's government and has remained in the detention since then.
Well, what you must know is that Nnamdi Kanu is being held hostage on behalf of the famed unity of Nigeria. That's what it's all about. It's as simple as that. If you mention his name in certain circles, they don't want to hear it because they feel like he threatens the real estate called Nigeria. And his Igbo makes it worse because Nigeria's DNA hates the Igbo for attempting, in the 60s and, towards the end of the 70s, to leave a country they said is no longer favorable to their existence. But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full, each time it's coming back, probably full too, but it is those who are coming back to pack their things that are coming back. That's the way I describe it. But the truth is that Nnamdi Kanu has been held hostage. He was abducted from Kenya, extraordinary rendition. The fact that he's kidnapped from Kenya could not be explained shows that any judicial pronouncement or processes after that is null and void. You cannot go and kidnap somebody and bring them before a court. And the courts have made it very clear, even up to the Supreme Court, that he did not jump bail. It was the military that went to his house to kill people, and then he escaped. And now you have brought him back, you ought to respect and restore his bail. That's what I told his lawyers. Why are you applying for bail again? Because the Supreme Court made all the pronouncements except releasing him. And I think it was because they were afraid. And that's why I said he's a hostage to this country. And like you rightly said, there are other people who have made even more egregious pronouncements and fought and carried arms in this country. And you have not treated them the same way because they're not Nnamdi Kanu's, their name don't sound East. And I'm not here to fetish being able, but the reality is that they are not treated fairly. And Nnamdi Kanu is part of the reason why that is clear to everybody.
Right.
And by the way, I must also reveal here that there are some Igbo elites who are behind this. Whenever there's a crime of conspiracy against freedom fighters, there are people inside and outside who are working together.
Well, let's return to you.
Yes.
Are you going to run again for president in 2027?
So let me give you a cliche. I never stopped running, even after the 2018-2019 election. But that is not to say that I will be running perpetually for office. My goal is to make this country work in my lifetime. And
do you have a master plan to achieve that goal?
I have made it public. I was the first person to bring a digital master plan to bear on Nigeria. Even, and this I can provide, even the so-called coastal highway. I was the first person to talk about it in 2018 when I visited Badagry for a town hall meeting. But mine was supposed to start from Badagry to Calabar and eventually to go from there to Senegal, because I believe in the unity of the African continent.
So you support that coastal highway?
Well, I don't support the one they are building now. because
But you support the one that you want to build?
Yes, because the one they are building now is the Atlantic outlet.
Right.
Yes, and I would predict here today, the coastal highway they are building is probably going to end up at the Dangote refinery because it's meant for transporting high-level workers from the Atlantic to the refinery and back. After that, you would never hear about the coastal highway again because that's the design. And I don't know why journalists haven't asked for us to have the real full master plan. It makes it sound today that the coastal highway is only about, what's that place they're demolishing there?
The landmark.
The landmark.
Yeah.
No. The coastal highways, we're supposed to have a model that is shown to us on TV every day. This is the digital model.
Well, in fairness, they've shown a route.
A route is not, I'm talking about a model on where we pass, But now we only have, they said they're only doing 47 kilometers. Now don't forget that the people who are building the coastal highway, the high-tech people, also had promised to build highways from Lagos to Ekpa, and they've been doing it for probably 20 years since Tinubu came to power. Never got past the state. That's why I'm saying this is a 47-kilometer highway meant to just provide an outlet for the Bundungu they're building called the Atlantic. Because how was it that people were going to come in there and bring 300,000 people and there's no any other outlet? So the coastal highway now is going to be built by Nigeria for a private investor, real estate investor. That's what it is about. So this is not the coastal highway that I wanted to build.
Well, we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah.
But we're almost out of time, and it's an absolute delight to have you here. But you called for revolution now.
Yes.
That was one of the reasons you were charged with treason.
That's right.
But should it be about revolution or about reform? I mean, there's a difference there, isn't there?
Why I was calling for revolution is that I spent 2 years at Columbia University in New York, an Ivy League school.
That's a very good school.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of the best 10 in the US.
Yeah.
And most people have never heard this about me before. And part of the reason I attended Columbia University was because they were calling me layabout at the University of Lagos because I was an activist. And I went to one of the best schools in the world. And I know what reforms are about from the World Bank, from the internet. And Nigeria's case has gone beyond reform. Only a revolution that can address the issue. But guess what? The revolution used to be a taboo word in 2019 when I was using it. Now it's freely used. Everybody is calling for a revolution, including those who were opposed to it in 2019. It's beyond me, but I would say this because it's important for the public, that revolutions that are supposed to happen will happen no matter how long it will take. You can only suppress people only for a time. But the Nigerian revolution is building up. What builds up a revolution are the ingredients you have in place, and suppress of ethnic groups, suppress of free speech, journalists, taxation without responsibility, And I wanted to say about landmark that I was aware that they're not demolishing landmark just because they want to build a road. They had been targeting the landmark guy even before now. They refused to let him have a water corporation land that he wanted to build part of, because he said, we are too powerful here. These are things that have been going on for a long time. So it is not by accident that they are demolishing the place. There are connotations to it. And I'm saying it publicly here.
Right.
Yes.
So basically, broadly speaking, we're out of time, but just very briefly.
Broadly speaking,
the approaching storm is still approaching.
Oh yes, it's just a matter of time. And it's going to happen whether I lead it or not. It's just a matter of time. It's a ticking bomb, because you cannot hold people to ransom for this long and you will not be suffering consequences for it.